Okay, good afternoon. In the previous class, what we have discussed? In the previous class, we discussed about memory management introduction. In the memory management introduction, we had a talk about address binding. So there are three stages we can bind the address to the information data. So that is at compile time, or else at load time, or else at the execution time. And if not at the compile time and load time, we can bind the address to the information and data at the time of running. Okay, and then after that we have talked about dynamic loading and dynamic linking, and what is the purpose of memory management unit, and what is a logical address and what is a physical address, and what is a logical address space set and what is a physical address space. Okay, now in this particular class we are going to discuss about swapping. Okay, so what is swapping? So in the swapping, so we temporarily move out the data from main memory to secondary memory, and again from secondary memory to main memory. Likewise, we are swapping to the main memory and swap out from the main memory. The process is swap into the main memory and the process is swap out from the main memory. The combination of swap in and swap out is called as swapping. Okay, so this is also called as a rollout and rolling. So I would like to show you the diagram so that you have a better idea. So for example, here we have two types of memory. This is the, observe the cursor. So this is the main memory and this is the secondary memory. If you observe here, the secondary memory here called as a backing store. So that means it is a disk. Okay. Usually the disk is look like this. We need to draw the diagram like this, right? It is like a cylinder, right? So it is also called as a backing store. So initially the main memory is divided into two parts. The first part is occupied by the operating system and the entire remaining part is for user area. So that is the reason why the hash color is of user space and this is operating system. And this particular box is called as a main memory here and this is called secondary memory. So what here we are doing? We are swapping the process 2. We are swap out the process 1. So once we swap out the process from main memory to secondary memory, then there will be a place to keep the next process that is called as process 2. So in the first step, what we are doing? We are swap out the process 1 from main memory to backing store. So main memory to backing store means swap out. What is swap in? From secondary memory, backing store to main memory. It is called as swap in. So the combination of swap out and swap in is called as swapping. Okay. That temporarily we are moving the process from main memory to secondary memory. That is called as swap out, and we are keeping another process into the main memory. That is called as swap in. Okay. The combination of swap out and swap in is called as swapping. Okay. The same thing what we covered in the diagram, the same thing. Okay. And the next topic is contiguous allocation. So as I told you earlier, so the main memory is divided into two partitions. One is for operating system and the second is for user process. Usually where the operating system will be available, usually the operating system will be at the low memory and the user process is in the high memory. What it means? If you observe this diagram, where the operating system, the entire main memory is divided into two parts, right? The entire main memory is divided into two parts. This particular portion is for operating system from this particular point to the last point. This area is for user. Okay. Up to this portion, operating system will be stored in the main memory. Okay. So where the operating system is available, it starts at the 0th location. That means operating system resides in the main memory in the lower partition, whereas all the user memory is available in the higher memory address locations. Okay. So that is that line. Right here you have to observe. So main memory is usually divided into two partitions. The first one is operating system. The first part is occupied by the operating system. Usually it is a low memory. And the second part is for user process. Okay, here one more word is there, that is interrupt vector. Usually held in low memory with the interrupt vector. What is interrupt vector? I already told you when you had a talk about system call. So in the operating system memory or a kernel area, we have a system call vector table, right? So that is called as input interrupt vector here. So that means in the operating system memory, there is an interrupt vector, okay? So the main memory is divided into two parts. One part is for operating system, second part is for user process, okay? And then what next we need to know? So what is, in order to protect the main memory, for example, we have assigned some memory partition to one process. Okay. What is the starting address of the particular process? Where it available? The starting address of the process is available in the base register, and the range of that particular memory addresses is available in the limit register. Okay. The process should not access the memory which is allocated to the some other process. The process should not access the memory which was allocated to the some other process. Okay, let me use a paint so that you have a better idea. So what is swap out and swap in? For example, this is the main memory and this is the backing store. This is the disk secondary memory. So initially the main memory is divided into two partitions. One part is for operating system. It is from maybe 0 to 512 KB in my example, right? So all the remaining partition is for user area. Okay. So for example, now I would like to swap out one process from main memory to secondary memory. So that is called as swap out. Why? Because from main memory to backing store. So this is called as swap out. So I swap out the process 1. So what I would like to swap in? I would like to swap in process 2. Swap in means from backing store to main memory. So from backing store to main memory. So that is called as swap in. So the combination of swap out and swap in is called as swapping. Okay. So this is the first concept. So after that, what we need to discuss? Contiguous memory location. So this is the next topic. So as I told you earlier, the entire main memory is divided into two partitions. What are those? The first part is for operating system. It occupies the low memory. Low memory means operating system will start from the 0th location, maybe from 512 KB, for example. So what about the remaining area? The entire remaining area is divided and used by the user. It is for user processes. So that means it is a user area. It is user area where we can keep the processes, user process, right? So automatically the entire remaining portion is divided into partitions, right? Divided into partitions. For example, if I would like to keep 3 processes into the main memory for the execution, so each of size, for example, 512 to 562 KB, and then 662 KB, and then maybe 762 or 862 KB. Okay. For example, so how much memory it will, what is the base address, what is the Limit address means here it starts at the 512th location. This is the base address of P1. This is the base address of P1. Then what will be the limit? Limit is nothing but this portion. So up to this portion, what is from 560 to 512? What is 562 minus 512? How much? This is a 50. So 50 is the limit value. Okay. So starting address is the base one. Limit means the difference between the highest order partition value and the base address. Okay, P1 occupied from 512 to 562. So we need to subtract 512 from 562 so that we will get the limit value. Okay, likewise, what is the base of P2? The base of P2 is 562. And what is the limit? The limit value is 100. And then again for P3, it is 662 and the limit is 200. Have you got my point? Limit is nothing but a range. Range between these two. Range between these two. Range between these two. Okay? Okay. So main memory is divided into two partitions. That is the first point you need to understand. So what are those? One partition for operating system, another partition for user area. And then we need to protect the main memory. We need to protect the main memory, right? How can we protect the main memory? By using base and limit registers. By using base and limit registers. So what is a base address? Base address is a starting address. What is limit address? So it is a range. So for example, in the operating system, so for example, in the main memory, there are two processes, P1 and P2. Okay. So here the base address So here, whenever we want to execute a P1 process, P1 should not access the memory of operating system. P1 should not access the memory which was allocated to P2. From which part to which part P1 can access? So from 512 to 562. That means whenever the CPU executing the P1 process, whenever the CPU executing the P1 process, it will generate a logical address, right? So the logical address should be less than or equal to base and greater than it is in between base and base plus limit. What is the base? It need to be greater than base. It need to be greater than base. For example, 512 or greater than 512. Then we will be considered as a P1 address, right? It need to be, the CPU generated address need to be, when the CPU executing a process P1, the generated logical address need to be greater than 512. Greater than or equal to base, and it need to be less than 562. Then only we are in the P1. Have you got my point? It is the base value. What is it? It is base plus limit. Base plus limit. And what is the limit range? Range between 562 and 512 is 50. So 512 plus 50 means 562. That means the CPU generated address must be in between 512 and 562. Then only we are in the P1 process. If it is less than 512, we'll move to the operating system area. If it is greater than 562, we'll move to the P2 process area, right? It will be considered as an error. So whatever the logical address generated by the CPU need to be greater than or equal to base, and it need to be less than base plus limit. That is what you need to understand. By that we can protect the main memory with the help of base and limit registers. Consider this particular diagram. CPU generate one address. Identify the cursor. So observe the cursor. CPU will generate one address. That address is called as a logical address. So the logical address need to be converted into physical address, right? So in between what we have to do, whenever the CPU generate the logical address need to be checked like this. The logical address need to be greater than base value and it need to be less than base plus limit. Then only the CPU generated address will be within the allocated portion of a particular process, right? So otherwise, if it is not greater than or equal to base, or if it is not less than or equal to base plus limit, automatically a trap to the operating system. That means an error will be appear. Then error signal will send to the operating system like it is an addressing error. That means actually CPU is executing a P1 process, but is trying to access the some other process area, process memory location. So it will be considered as a error. Okay, it is very important one. So let me explain. Let me explain again. Okay. For example, this is a main memory. Main memory is divided into two partitions. One is for operating system and the another area is for user. So here in the user area, we have two processes, P1 and P2. Okay. Operating system is up to 1024. Okay. P1 process is of size 500 KB. So the location is 1524. Okay. So whenever CPU executing the P1 process, CPU generated address is called as a logical address. Okay. This logical address need to be in between 1024 and 1524 only. Okay. If it should not less than 1024. If it is less than 1024, so automatically it is a memory location allocated to the operating system. If it is greater than 1524, then it will be the memory location which is allocated to P2. So whenever CPU generate one logical address, then automatically this address will be tested with one condition. What it is? This address need to be greater than or equal to base. What is the base address value? 1024. If it is greater than or equal to, and it might be 1024 or greater than 1024. Greater than 1024 means 1025.627 like that. Okay. And it need to be less than, and it need to be less than 1524. 1524 means it is again in the P1. Greater than 1024 means it is greater than 1024. We are in the P1. If it is less than 1524, we are also in the P1. Okay. So obviously the 1024 value is available in the base register. How can we get 1524? Ending address. How can we get the ending address? We can get the ending address by adding base with a limit. What is a limit? Limit is a range of a process. Here the range of process is 500. So what is the base? 1024. So 1024 plus 500 means 1524. So if we add a size or a range of a process to the base address, then we will get the ending address of a process. So whenever the CPU generate one address, the address need to be tested with this condition. It need to be greater than base and it needs to be less than base plus limit. Then it will be goes to the main memory so that CPU can access the instruction from the main memory. If it is not greater than or equal to base, or if it is not less than base plus limit, automatically what will happen? If it is yes, If it is yes, we'll move to the main memory. If it is no, either condition is failed. Okay, then we will go to the trap to the operating system. Trap means a signal error. Okay, what it is? It is called as addressing error. That means CPU executing a process 1, but it is trying to access the memory locations which was allocated to some other process. That signal will be sent to the operating system. Then what will do? The operating system will abnormally or abort, send a abort signal to the process P1. Okay, whenever the trap signal sent to the operating system, immediately operating system will consider it as an addressing error. So automatically operating system will send a signal to the process. What it is? Abort. Abort means abnormal termination. Okay, so that is the thing. Is it clear for you all? So that I will move to the next concept. Is it clear for you all? Total 46 are available. No one is giving me the answer. So what can I think? Okay, whether you are listening or not, it is my duty to continue with the class, right? And the next one. So I already told you the operating system is occupied with the operating system is occupied with operating system. Sorry, the main memory is occupied with the operating system and the user area. Here if you observe, the user area is divided into partitions. These partitions are called as holes. Okay. And next, they are not, these partitions are not equal partitions. There might be the different size partitions. Okay. For example, this is a 500 KB of slot. It might be up to 2048. That means the block is bigger than this block, right? So these are called as holes. And next, how can we allocate a memory to the partition? How can we allocate a memory to the processes? Okay. So there are total 3 varieties for allocating. So what are those? First fit, best fit, worst fit. What are those? First fit, best fit, worst fit. So let me explain with a for example, so this is a main memory. 0 to maybe 1024 operating system, and then operating system is remaining user area is divided into multiple partitions. Okay, so if you observe here, so these two are of same size. For example, this is bigger, like slightly bigger than this one, so maybe it is of 100 KB, and this is of, for example, 50 KB, and this is of 150 KB, and this is of 300 KB. Okay, how many? 565. What is the problem? You can unmute your device and let me know. Otherwise, through a chat, you can send a message. Okay. So these are the partitions. So these are the partitions. Initially, there are no process available in the main memory. So if I want to keep a process into the main memory, there are totally, in order to allocate a memory to a process, there are 3 techniques. There are 3 techniques for allocating memory to processes. What are those? First fit, And the second one is the best fit. And the third one is the worst fit. Okay. So might be just give me, this is of 60, for example. Let me modify it 60. Okay. So what is a first fit? What is first fit means, for example, the process is of size, here in our example 50 kb. The process size is 50 kb. So automatically whenever I want to keep the process into the main memory, if it is a first fit, so automatically we will check the location block size one by one. So 100. So 100 is 50 kb is fitted into the 100. Yes. 50 is 50 kb is fit into the 100 kb partition. What the first fit will do? Whenever the partition best suitable, best fit to that particular process, automatically it will keep that process into the main memory. So in the first fit, it chooses 100 kb partition. What a first fit will set? You keep your 50 kb process into 50 kb into 100 kb partition. That is called as first fit. Okay. And then what is a best fit? What is best fit means, it will check each and every partition from top to bottom. That means it will search entire partitions. Search entire partition. In those, which partition have a less memory wastage, if we keep the process. For example, if you keep your 50 kb into 100 kb, then what happened? 50 kb internal memory is wastage. Why? Because it is a 100 kb partition, 50 kb is left over. So that is the problem. If you keep your 50 kb in 60 kb, the wastage is 10. If it is 100 kb, if you choose 100 kb, then automatically the wastage of memory is 50 kb. If you choose a 60 kb partition, the wastage is of 10 kb. If we choose a 150 kb, then the wastage is 100 kb. If we choose a 300 kb, the wastage is 250 kb. So in those all the four partitions which have a very less wastage, 60 kb. If we keep your 50 kb into the 60 kb partition, so automatically the wastage of internal memory is 10 kb. So best fit will choose a 60 kb partition to keep a 50 kb process. Best fit choose 60 kb partition to keep 50 kb process. What about the worst fit? Worst fit also such entire partitions, all partitions, entire partition list. But in those, which one is the bigger one? Which partition is big? Worst fit choose that one. Choose that partition. Okay. So obviously worst fit will choose 300 kb. Okay. So that the wastage is more. Okay. So that among the three, which one is the best one? Among the three, which one is the best one? Best fit is the best one. Why? Because in the best fit only 10 kb of wastage is there. If you go for the first fit, so automatically 50 kb of internal memory is waste. Okay, if you go for the worst phase, 250 kb of internal memory is waste. Okay, I will give you one more problem. This is the operating system and these are the partitions, unequal sized partitions. Okay. So now we'd like to keep a process into the main memory, so that we need to allocate the memory to the process P1. Okay. This is of operating system start at 0. It will be at up to 1024. And next here we have a 4 partitions available. So what is the size of each partition? So let me, this is of 50 KB and this is of 100 KB and this is of 200 KB and this is of 40 KB. Okay. So we need to choose a first fit or best fit or worst fit to allocate memory to a process. These are the 3 techniques. So first fit, best fit, worst fit. Then tell me, what is the size of, okay, let me give you a size of the partition is 30 KB. First fit chooses which block? First fit chooses which block?
50 KB.
50 KB, right. Then what will be the wastage? Wastage. If it is a 50 KB block, you are keeping only 30 KB in it. So what is the wastage? The remaining 20 KB memory is wastage. Okay, then what about best fit? What about the best fit?
40 KB.
Yes, best fit chooses 40 KB so that the internal wastage is 10
KB.
This is the best fit, and this partition will be chosen by the first fit. Then what about worst fit?
200 KB.
So the worst fit chooses 200 KB. So then what will be the wastage? 200 minus 30 means 170 KB is the waste. So first fit chooses 50 KB partition, best fit chooses 40 KB partition, and the worst
10 KB. Right.
partition. Okay. So in this, the wastage of memory, if it is a first fit, 20 KB memory waste. If it is a best fit, 10 KB of memory waste. If it is a worst fit, 170 KB of memory waste. So among these 3 techniques, best fit is the good technique for allocating the memory to a process. Okay. Are you got my point?
Yes, ma'am.
So this particular wastage, I already told you, in this particular 50 KB block, if we keep 30 KB process, the remaining 20 KB is waste. That is called as internal fragmentation. Internal fragmentation. Very important question. Internal fragmentation. What is internal fragmentation? Within the partition, if we keep one process, the remaining unused partition is called as an internal fragmentation problem. If we keep a process of 30 KB into a 40 KB partition, internally within the block, a 10 KB of memory will not used by the process. That partition is wasted. So that problem is called as internal fragmentation. Okay. So this is operating system, and the next one If you observe here, let me draw neatly. So I will go to the next slide. I will try to draw in a proper manner. So this is the operating system, and then there are the partitions. Okay, this is a 50 kb partition, and this is a 20 kb, and this is a 100 kb, and again it is a 20 kb, and this is a 100 kb, and this is a 150 kb, and again this is a 10 kb. Okay, so there are different number of process, P1, P2, some P3, P4. So obviously whenever you are allocating, it is of 40 kb size. So I would like to keep it in the 50 kb. Why? Because the partition is of 50 kb. If I keep a 40 kb process in it, so automatically only 10 kb of memory will be wasted internally. So this is called as internal fragmentation. Right? So again, suddenly I would like to keep one more process. It is of 100 size. So I will keep it in the next portion. Again, I have one more process. It is of 100 size. So I will keep in this particular block. And next P4 is of 130. So I will keep it in the 150 block, so that P4, P3, and then P2. So this particular portion, internal fragmentation. Okay, what is internal fragmentation? Memory wastage within a block. Okay, unused memory within a block otherwise. So suddenly there is a process of 50 kb came into the, we'd like to come into the main memory. So how many partitions are left over? Here we have 3 partitions unused. These 3 are the unused free partitions. One is of 20 and another is of 20 and the third one is a 10. So these partitions are not utilized. Okay, suddenly one process want to come into the main memory. The size of that particular process is 50 kb. Okay, so what we can do? We can combine all these smaller partitions. We can combine all these small holes into one big hole. Why? Because what we will do, we need to adjust all these partitions at one side. We take all those external partitions, unused partitions. That means that is called as external fragmentation. So what is external fragmentation? External fragmentations are unused holes. Unused holes, and that means there are some small partitions. Those are not useful for the any process. Why? Because there are small holes, 20, 20, 10. Such a small process might not come to the main memory usually. So automatically those small holes are not used by any of the process. So automatically the memory will be waste. So such a unused small partitions of memory holes are called as external fragmentation. So we can avoid such a problem by combining all the small partitions and form like a big hole. That means we are combining all the small individual separate holes into one big hole. So the technique is called as compaction. The technique is called as compaction. Very, 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 very important. Okay. Compaction means, what is compaction? Combining small holes for forming a big hole. Okay. What is a hole? What is a hole? Hole means a partition of a memory. Partition memory. These partitions are called as holes. Okay. In a 50 kb 50 kb hole, if we keep a 30 kb or 40 kb process, the leftover memory within the hole is called as internal fragmentation. Okay. The small partitions which are not used for any other process will be the reason for the external fragmentation. How can we avoid the external fragmentation? We can avoid the external fragmentation by the technique called as compaction. Compaction means combining all small holes to form a big hole. If we combine all the small holes, in our example, there are 3 small holes of 20 size, 20 size and 10 size. So if we combine all these 3 things, how much memory will get? It will be formed like a 50 kb hole, so that we can keep one more process into that particular hole. Okay. So this is called as external fragmentation, and it is internal memory wastage within a block is called as internal fragmentation. So we need to go for the best fit technique in order to somehow avoid the internal fragmentation. In order to avoid the external fragmentation, the technique is compaction. Okay. Now go through the slide. For what is a first fit? Allocating the first hole that is big enough. So whenever you are searching for a hole, if any particular partition is suitable to that particular process, then automatically we will keep that particular process into the first fit. What is the best fit? So we need to search the entire list. We need to search the entire list. That means we need to search all the holes. So which one is the smallest NF? That means allocate the smallest hole that is big enough. It will produce the smallest leftover hole. That means, for example, if it is a 50 kb and 60 kb and the 70 kb partitions are available, for example, 50 kb, 60 kb and then 70 kb partitions are available, for example. So if you want to keep a 40 kb process, which one we need to choose? We need to choose the 50 kb partition. Why? Because if we keep a 40 kb process into a 50 kb hole, automatically the leftover memory, the internal wastage is only 10 kb. So that is the idea of best fit. So for best fit, we need to search the entire list. For a first fit, we no need to search the entire list. When you are searching the list one by one, whenever the particular hole is big enough to keep the process, then we can choose that one. We no need to check the remaining list. Okay. But in the case of best fit and the worst fit, we need to check the entire list. So best fit chooses a hole which has very less internal fragmentation. Okay. Whereas in the case of worst fit will choose from the entire list, it will choose a partition which is of big size. For example, 50, 60, 70, 100, 150. These are the partitions available. So in order to keep a 40 kb, the worst fit 40 kb process, The worst fit will choose 150 kb partition. So the what will be the internal wastage now? 110. Okay, that is the thing. So best fit and worst fit both fetch the entire list. So first fit and best fit better than the worst fit. Okay. And next is external fragmentation and internal fragmentation. What is internal fragmentation? Allocated memory may be slightly larger than the requested memory. For example, my process is of size 40 kb. I request 40 kb, but a partition is of 50 kb. So what will be the leftover? 10 kb. So that is called as internal memory. That means the allocated memory is slightly bigger than the requested memory. And next, what is external fragmentation? The total memory space exists to satisfy a request, but it is not contiguous. In the previous example, the process is of 50 kb, but we have no 50 kb partitions available in the main memory. 20 kb at one place, 20 kb at one place, and 10 kb at one place. They are not contiguous to keep the process. Okay, all the remaining 20 kb, 20 kb, 10 kb partitions are considered as a external fragmentation. So how can we make use those small partitions? So by using a concept called compaction. So what is compaction? Compaction means combining all the small holes and form like a big hole. So that individually in a 20 kb, 20 kb, 10 kb are not at all sufficient to keep the 50 kb process. Okay. So what is an idea? You can combine all those 20, 20, 10 into one big hole so that we can form like a 50 kb hole. Okay, they are not contiguous. They are in different locations. And next we need to keep them in the combine and we keep them into one location so that we can keep a 50 kb process into a 50 kb partition. Okay. And the next class I would like to start phasing. Now the time is over. It is already 2:29, 2:30. So if you have any doubt, you can ask me now. If you have any doubts, you can ask. Only 36 participants left, right? In the afternoon session, most of you are not attending the classes.